This is Unknown and Uncloned on the Undetermined Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Unknown and Uncloned, where we delve into pop culture, all art forms, and beyond. I'm one of your hosts, Rich, along here with my other hosts,
Julian Wilson and
Luis Christie.
Oh, and Randall Taylor.
That's right. That's right, Randall.
You forgot to introduce yourself, Randall.
Happens to the best of us.
I zoned out. I'm sorry, folks. That's
No,
3
no.
hours of sleep.
No, it's okay. He could have been thinking about what an alternate universe would be like. Because that's on all of our minds right now.
Is it
Why?
weird that I was?
Wait, were you actually? Because that's
Yes.
perfect. All right.
There you go.
Well, I think you guys, by now, you already know what we're talking about this episode.
Yeah.
We're going to be delving into theories about alternate/parallel universes.
That's right.
A concept that we have all come into contact with briefly through some sort of show in some way, whether it be a science fiction series or an anime or a movie, something. So I found this really awesome article on a website called futurism.media about the top alternate universe theories. Now, before I want to get into that, I feel like we already have a pretty good idea of what this notion is. So, Julian,
Yeah.
based on your knowledge, what would you say an alternate universe is for anyone who's listening to this who's kind of confused?
An alternate universe is basically alternate possibilities of your current life, or what could be argued as the current timeline or the current history. Alternate universes and parallel universes are other universes that like coincide with this one, that are happening at the same time, and basically like your life but in different possibilities. Different situations.
Exactly. There could be another me out there in a completely other universe who is similar, maybe not similar, I don't know, maybe I'm a manager at McDonald's in one reality. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? There are a lot of different theories on this.
Maybe you're a manager at Burger King in another one.
Maybe Wendy's. Maybe there's literally 1,000 universes where I'm a manager of a fast food place, other than another 1,000 where I don't know, maybe I'm a fry cook, or another 1,000 where
It all comes back to food, yo.
I don't know, but you get the point.
Yeah.
It's a theory that really invites the imagination
Yeah.
to think and consider the fact that there are so many others. So a couple on this list. The many worlds interpretation, which is pretty much what I've been getting into. It's an interpretation of quantum mechanics that supports multiple alternate universe theories.
Such a crazy theory, man.
I know. This theory suggests that every possible change, let me reread that. This theory suggests that every possible change in reality is real. However, all the different possibilities exist in a bunch of different worlds. That's a lot to wrap your head around. Yeah.
It's interesting because we don't know for sure. We can't say for sure that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's no way that I could prove to you that it doesn't, but there's no way that I could prove to you it does.
Yeah. But there's a lot of theories, and like a lot of dreams are also correlate with that. A lot of dream theories correlate with that as well. Like when you sleep or when you enter REM, there's a theory out there that it's your mind. No, sorry, let me correct that. It's your subconscious traveling through time and space. Which and not necessarily your mind just projecting random images and stuff like that, but it's literally your mind traveling through time and space as you sleep, which is why it can sometimes have an effect on the physical body.
That's actually interesting you guys brought that up because a friend of mine was discussing it because he sends me random texts from time to time just ranting. He literally said to me, what if when we're sleeping, when we dream, we're not really dreaming, we just go to another universe until we wake up?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's what the theory is. Like, and I kind of believe it. I
would believe it too. But the only thing about that is like, how do we distinguish? Because as we discussed earlier, that we've seen visions before in our dreams,
right?
But then we end up seeing those very visions come to life in our own life. So it's like, I feel like
there is a distinction. There is a
consciously we can't differentiate, but it's like subconsciously we know the difference.
Yes.
And it's weird because you can't really explain that part.
You can't, because there's deja vu, there's visions, there is, there's the dreams thing in itself works hand in hand with both of those, in a way, because like you said, like what we were discussing earlier, like I've had visions as I was sleeping, then it would happen the next day, leading into a deja vu feeling. So it's like all three of those are just wrapped into one thing in essence, a very small time frame. So it's like, and that's only happened to me a couple times. So I feel like these things are not brought upon by us consciously thinking about it. It just happens. And the question is why and how, which we still don't think we really have figured it out to an exact science yet.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How would we even get to that point?
Yeah.
It's like, how does that even... It's
I
just a
don't-
lot of questions.
I don't even think there's an exact science to it.
I don't think there is.
I think it's something that just goes beyond the realm of science that we still haven't learned just yet, or that we're not trying to learn or accepting just yet.
Accepting, because there'll be a lot of not even just the people listening, like potential people listening to this episode, but there's a lot of people already that's like, nah, it's too far-fetched, for the same reason that people don't believe that there's life beyond us, which
There's
is
a lot of things, if you said in the past, that was far-fetched. Like, who would think a device like this can hold, for example, like 20,000 songs? If you told somebody that back in the 1950s, you were insane.
Yeah.
So who knows what the possibilities are for now.
exactly.
In the future.
Plus, like everything in Back to the Future is here now, for the most part, in one
still
shape, way, or
haven't-
form.
We still haven't gotten flying cars down to a science yet.
True,
Not yet.
but
They're probably working.
there's been
on it.
experiments on it.
We'll get there eventually.
Then there has been progress.
That's right.
So it's crazy how fast technology is expanding, and I think we discussed on a past episode with our lucid dreaming episode how scientists, I believe in Asia, are they're figuring out how to record certain shapes and colors from your dreams as you're sleeping.
That would be amazing.
They have they link you up to like this whole system, and then they're able to like decode certain things like that. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy how they're at that point already, because that's a lot of progress. But that brings up the ethical situation, as should we even be doing that to people's brains, like, because that's I mean, obviously people would like opt to do it or not. Like, nobody could force you to let me see your dreams. Like, but it's just interesting, and the whole parallel universe thing. It interweaves with the dreams and deja vu and all that stuff. I've gotten deja vu. I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten deja vu. I still get it. It's a feeling you really can't explain.
You can't.
There's an explanation out there that it's your mind misplacing memories, which is why it gives you like that feeling, like it's misplacing a memory or whatever. But the feeling of deja vu, the whole essence of it is that it's the feeling that you experienced that situation, the situation that you were going through at that moment. It doesn't feel like a misplaced memory. I feel like that'd be a different feeling.
I don't believe
altogether.
in misplaced memories. See, I'm one that believes in reincarnation, which, believe it or not, actually isn't as common as people would think.
Right.
And I don't believe in misplaced memories. I believe in, if I didn't experience in this life, it's probably something from a past life that I
yes.
experienced that I'm starting to vibe with now. Like, I vibe a lot with Japan. I vibe a lot with contemporary jazz, meaning somewhere along the line, I was involved with those things.
I vibe a lot with Japan too, and just music in general. Like music is a very strong force in my life, and it's like sometimes like in the beginning it felt more like, oh, I like music. Music is cool. But then as I got older, there would be like very like intimate moments with it, like very like spiritual moments with it, and I'm like, I wonder. It makes you think about stuff like that, and like then like parallel universes and dream worlds and stuff. Like I've woken up from dreams like in tears, like just because of how emotional they were and how strong I felt them, and no one can tell me that wasn't real. You know what I mean? In some shape, way, or form, no one can tell me that because I felt all of that. Like it tugged on my heartstrings to the point where I'm like, I feel a connection to this, so there must be a reason. It's not just random images projecting. I mean, you know, I really do believe in the whole traveling through time and space thing. When our subconscious, I feel like our subconscious knows a lot that we don't consciously know, or can't be aware of when we're awake like this.
I think humans are the only mystery where we're refusing to try and look into ourselves for the answer.
Yeah,
that's it, man.
I agree.
Look to every other direction but within.
Exactly. It's like the realm, like psychology is one of the newest sciences. If you look at it compared to, others like mathematics and whatnot, they've been established before. But it's just like, I feel like people have a tendency of trying to interpret other things as opposed to within. Like we explore a lot about space, and that's cool.
And our world.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before. Like, what about our own oceans? Like down into the earth. Like, why don't we put more resources into that?
We don't know jack about the ocean, man. We know it's proven that we know more about space than we know about our ocean. There's something wrong with that.
There's a lot in the ocean we don't know about.
Exactly. But I guarantee you, there's an alternate universe out there where we know exactly what's going on in the ocean.
They say knowledge is power, right?
It's true.
And I feel like, honestly, I'm really a firm believer. All right, well, I believe in God. But I believe that things happen for a reason, and I believe that there are some things that maybe we're not supposed to know, or we don't have access to, that maybe we can only access while we're asleep, or reach, like if you meditate enough and reach that state of Zen within yourself, that is when you will awake things that have always been inside you, and like knowledge about yourself, but you won't reach that until you like practice being conscious and aware, because there's signs everywhere, and it's every day, it's continuous, and like there's dreams that relay signs to you. There's dreams that point out imminent danger, or like just dreams pick up on energy and auras. And that's why, I've been very threatened in dreams that I've had. I felt very scared. I felt very like happy. Like every emotion has been, I don't want to say like heightened than it is in like reality, but it feels like freer. And I don't know what that is, but like it's always been something that has fascinated me from the very beginning. And that's why I think there's more to it that people, like you said, they don't focus on. People are so quick to reject ideas, and there's not too many like fully open like avenues that people are willing. They'll I think we as like humans are more willing to reject ideas than to entertain them, because some of it is fear. Some of it is fear induced.
I agree. I really do think so. And over time, maybe there'll be a renewed interest. Maybe someone will start to inspire us to really make that search, to really try to delve deeper into these kind of things, because I think it needs to be more, it needs to be more explored. But
It does. I mean,
yeah,
that's us. That is ourselves. That is our spirit. That is literally our essence. And we're not digging deep into it.
yeah,
Not all of us.
yeah.
And I feel like there'd be a lot more answers if we did. Be a lot more answers if we did. Maybe we don't. Looking outward maybe is not the answer.
Exactly. But I gotta know, how do you guys see yourselves in alternate universes?
Before I answer that, I just wanna say one more thing.
What's up?
We're made from space to begin with. So there has to be some connection with that.
Yeah. Atomic matter.
Yeah.
That's true. I also can't help but think maybe there's another me out there that has these answers, another world that does, And as I've mentioned, there have been plenty of examples like this in shows and video games even. One popular thing right now that's being done in comics, in both DC and Marvel, there are like alternate versions of characters that will often appear.
The multiverse.
Exactly. There isn't just a universe, there's a multiverse. So there's our universe, and then there's another entire universe that is very similar or very different, and characters from there will, they'll visit, like let me think of a particular example I can reveal without spoiling too much. Oh, like for example, in there is a version of Spider-Man in an alternate universe where Peter Parker is a woman named Petra Parker.
Oh wow.
That's one thing. Exactly. And that's something that's in the Marvel comics.
Yeah.
I also believe there's, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is legit, there's another Spider-Man that's like actually a pig, but they got bit by a spider and has those abilities. Yeah, there's something like that.
Wow.
But there's crazy things like that out there that do exist.
Yeah, you have Amazing Spider-Man, you have Spectacular Spider-Man, then you have some other Spider. There's so many
Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, that one.
The futuristic,
I'm not too familiar with that one, but yeah.
There's a lot, man. I mean, there's probably a world of ours that exists where there's no Superman. Maybe Batman was the first superhero, and now other heroes are influenced by that, and it's like a much darker, kind of style. Who knows?
That's the thing, because I think we don't know everything about like the soul and the spirit itself. We really don't know. We don't know how that connects to everything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that has not been. Well, I guess you could say it's like not the science versus faith argument, but like more like we still have a lot to figure out, and confirm about things like that.
Yeah,
because it's like it's some, that you'll get like that feeling. You'll just get a feeling, people say it's your gut, people say it's your intuition, but it all connects back to just that sense of that sense.
That actually connects to the next theory that I'm going to discuss. Yeah. This one actually, there's another theory on this list, and it is the many interacting worlds theory. And what that basically is, some scientists believe that universes can and do interact from time to time, especially on a quantum level. So that's the thing. It would mean that, for example, larger scale interpretations could be possible under this theory, which means that it could be theoretically possible to find yourself in another dimension at random. That's one thing.
This kind of reminds me of the Mandela effect as well.
That's also on this list. Yeah.
This is not.
But I mean, I'm not even sure.
No one's figured out the Mandela effect, by the way.
No.
What do you guys remember? Do you remember as Bernstein or Bernstein Bears?
Okay. Well, I need to briefly explain it for those who
I don't even know.
who don't know. First of all, what's up?
What is the Mandela effect?
Exactly.
Well, he's about to explain exactly right now.
Yep. On this list. Now, the author of this does mention, which I suppose, it is important. It is important to mention that this hasn't been officially supported by science. That doesn't necessarily discredit it. It's just to just to indicate that there haven't really been experiments per se done on this. But basically, it's an alternate universe theory that was spawned by an internet phenomenon that showed many people remembering alternate versions of history as facts.
It's crazy,
Like people who would swear to their parents' and grandparents' graves certain things, which in reality are not. So, for example, there are several on this list. Remembering Nelson Mandela dying in 1980. There are many people who recall that in 1980 Nelson Mandela had passed, but as we know now, he actually died in 2013. That's one. Another thing, some people, they remember the Monopoly mascot with a monocle. The real mascot doesn't have a monocle. So what are people remembering? Wait a minute.
I remember him with a monocle too.
I remember him with a monocle.
No.
But I
stop.
also remember the more recent ones. He
Yeah.
doesn't have one anymore, though.
Yeah, like wasn't he just updated? Maybe it was no, because I really do.
I
think
remember
that he
him
has
with a monocle, man.
Hold on, I need to look this up, man. This is tripping
But
me
the
out.
thing is, the messed up part is, I remember reading that Nelson Mandela died in a prison, but then what was it, 2013 when he passed away?
He died the same year as Paul Walker.
Exactly, he died in 2013.
Actually, I think he died the same week as Paul Walker.
Probably give or take a week before. Same week or week before, give or take.
Really? You remember reading that?
I really remember. It was when I was younger, but I remember reading about Nelson Mandela in a textbook in school. I remember reading he died in prison in 1980.
What?
But I also remember on the news when it was announced that he died in 2013. And that is when I was like, wait, no, that couldn't have been. I'm like, he died in prison already.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that really, really like spawned discussion videos, people going in depth, talking about like, no, I swore that this happened, that thousands of other people believe that this happened this way and whatnot and whatnot. And there are so many examples.
The same thing with people remembering Luke, I am your father, and not no, I am your father, which is the actual line. But thinking back, I remember Luke, but the actual line is, no, I am your father. That's the actual line that's in the movie. But even James Earl Jones remembers it being Luke, I am your father.
Even he does?
There was an interview he was talking about it. He remembered it being like, I think in the script or something like as Luke. It's weird, man. And then there's the
Bernstein Bears
yeah.
one. Like, Rich, what do you remember as? Do you remember as Berenstein or Berenstain Bears?
Honestly, I barely remember it either way.
I remember
never watched it that much.
Bernstein sounds.
I remember Berenstein Bears because that's how I always looked at it, as Bernstein Bears.
Yeah. Yes.
That's how I always remembered it. But then it turns out how it really was Bernstein. I'm like, no, I remember the books vividly. It was Bernstein.
Yes.
And then I went to a library. I think I was in high school at the time. I went to a library. I checked, and it said Berenstain. I was like, no, this can't be. I'm like, what is going on? And it's not something that you just go off and change because the book franchise has been done for years now. So it's like, why would you go on and change that?
This relates to the whole interacting universes theory too, though. Because
there you
if you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that is one of the. I forgot which YouTuber I was watching, but
Is it Beyond Science?
I don't recall exactly. But they were trying to explain why this may have been. They were saying how one possibility would be false memories on a large scale. Another one would be that.
That's sketch though.
Yeah.
I don't know
that's the
about
thing.
that. You know.
I mean, well, because I have had memories that weren't accurate. You know, I may.
Of course, but
yeah.
On a
but
large scale like that, I don't know, man. That's a little bit.
that's the thing.
I
Like,
don't know.
so many people. Well, there's that. That was one explanation. Another one was that somebody from an alternate universe came and altered this, or we traveled to an alternate universe that was very similar. That's another thing.
Well, kind of like how we touched on with the time travel episode. I think it was a time travel episode. The man from the make believe country and what is it in Europe, the time traveling man,
the guy where they went to look for him in the room and he was
disappeared,
gone.
and so was his contents.
I know exactly what that was.
I know exactly the story you're talking about.
Yeah, the man from Torre.
Torred, yes, and he was he was very heavily watched, but he was gone, yo.
That's the weird thing. Okay, so basically the quick summary of that story, at some point in the 20th century, maybe 1960s.
It was in the 1960s, 70s.
Yeah.
1970s, I believe, actually.
Okay, yeah. This man, he came to an airport. I don't remember in what nation, but the point is, he got to an airport. He was asked for his passport and whatnot, and he had all this information stating that he was from a nation called Torred. And on our map, it did not exist.
And never did exist.
Yeah.
Actually has no history or of existing.
Yeah, but he has all these like passport stamps and documents, that basically, that would lead you to believe that it is a legitimate place. So after that, he was held in questioning. Apparently he was very heavily guarded. But at some point, I believe some detectives were going to finally, try to get some more answers out of him, and he was just not present. There was just he was never found again.
Neither were his contents that he brought with him.
Everything was gone. The room was completely empty.
I think his contents were kept in a safe or something. All of them it was all gone.
Maybe a briefcase that he brought with him. I don't know.
Or like airport security was all gone. I'm like, yo.
That was
we can
very
just say, "Oh, this didn't happen."
That's very
And
creepy.
I think this is something that we will have to touch on the Aliens episode when it comes to the Men in Black. There's definitely some stories with that.
That is another thing which I'm almost afraid to mention. Honestly,
I don't think I know
think
about
Randall, I think you know what I mean when I'm afraid to mention this.
I know.
But all right,
Vaporized coin, Rich. Vaporized coin. Remember that.
Okay.
You see this coin? Is no longer. That's what's going to happen. Delete everything you have. You'll see when we tell you the story, Julian.
Oh snap!
Well, now I kind of gotta get into it.
Snap, crackle, pop! Right now,
We can't spoil it for these fans either. We'll get to it.
Okay, well, the thing is,
you want-
we did have an Aliens episode. I mean, that was only part 1. And we did mention Men in Black, but I don't believe I mentioned exactly.
You did not mention this.
Okay. So now I have.
Now you've piqued my interest. I have no idea what the hell.
Okay, so basically.
Should we tell them the story real quick then?
Yeah.
Do you remember the professor's name? I don't remember the professor's name. Basically, there was a scholar who ended up seeing a UFO one night, and he began studying content about a UFO landing somewhere, and he had all this research up about the aliens. So he's getting all these info, found all these documents. All of a sudden, there's a knock on his door.
No, forget this.
It was a black spotless car, and the windows were tinted. And I don't think there was a light on the car, was there, Rich? The lights were bright, and the car just in front of his house, and he sees 2 tall men in black.
In black suits.
What?
Clean black suits, no dust, no nothing on them. The suits were spotless, and they come into his house. The men have porcelain skin and red lips and like green eyes or something like that.
Yo, what the hell?
And one of them goes to the men. They tell him, "You see this coin here? We understand you have information. You have classified information, and they take out a coin. No, they ask him for a coin. He gives them a coin. They vaporize the coin right in front of his eyes. And he was like, I think you understand now. They confiscated all the information. He deleted everything that he had. And the whole experience just tripped him out. And the men left in a flash of light after that. Never to be saw again.
Well, you see,
Oh my God.
that's only one example. The thing that I was referring to, actually, I saw this one documentary
hell, man?
on History Channel about the Men in Black as a concept. Okay. So what would happen is there were basically people around the nation who would claim that they had encountered aliens, or maybe they were abducted, or they saw something at some point.
I've read all.
Yeah. And then at some other point in their life, apparently at some point, two men in black had come to visit them. And after that point, it's like those particular people, they either never discussed the aliens they saw again. In some cases, they were missing, but that's the weird thing. It was like these men in black would appear and consult people who would claim to have had an experience with an extraterrestrial. And then there's an even bigger theory that the reason the movies were even made was to discredit the idea, so that people would be like, "Oh, well, actually, it's a movie. You know, it's fake. How could it be real?"
Yo, that's crazy.
And people would never believe someone.
That would work too.
Wow.
That would definitely
It
work
was,
too.
But I think everything comes down to is that there is a natural world order, like a universal world order that needs to be kept. Do you guys know about the guy on the talk show that was discussing Area 51?
Yeah.
You heard of it? You know that?
I
No,
may have.
what?
He
I mean, there's
went
a lot
on
of
a
people that talk
radio.
about-
He called into a radio show. The dude just starts talking all this information about us. He's like, they've already contacted us. They've already done business with us. They may be coming here. Someday they are going to be coming here. And so about a week, what was it, like a week later or something? I can't remember. But after that, the audio was pulled from him because he started freaking out.
What do you mean the audio was pulled from him?
He was freaking out during the... Y'all saw that too, right?
I saw the phone ring.
I thought I saw the flickering in the lights. That was your phone. Okay.
That was the phone over here.
Yo, stop freaking me out, Julian.
I didn't do that. I
Stop
don't have no
freaking me
psychic-
out, man.
Yo, I ain't Magneto.
Don't play with me, man. So anyway,
I'm getting creeped out right now.
that's
right?
what happens. He calls up the radio show.
That was weird because you're talking about phones and the phone rang.
He was calling up the radio show, and the dude's like calling. He's just ballistic, freaking out about talking about aliens, talking about it's they. But he never says aliens. He says they are coming. They are coming after us. We do not have much time left. I need help. I need to find someone because something has to be done, and people must know about this. I can't remember word for word what he says. I have to find the video. But after that, he says, "Oh my God, there's someone here." And the audio was just cut. Like, the phone call just goes blank. And so a few days later, or like a month later, so the same guy calls back. And he was like, "Oh, it was just a joke. I was just having some fun. And it was really immature and irresponsible. I don't know what you're talking about. It was just a joke." The thing is, I watched the video several times over because the guy that called the second time did not sound like the guy who called the first time. And that is where the theory lies for people, is that something was done to him, or they got rid of him and replaced him with someone else who sounds similar to him.
Speaking of that, this AI, real quick. AI is taking over, right?
Yeah, they already they already have one in fruition right now. Actually, it's really, what you expect us to create our first AI.
Talking about the female.
Yeah, I mean, they also created other ones.
Relating to the voice thing, though, there's AI out there that can steal your voice in 60 seconds.
You mean like just sound like me or take it away?
Sound like you.
Wow.
Like
It's
legit,
scary, bro.
60 seconds. That's all it takes.
How much do I have to speak? Like, do I
And
have
they
to-
can change the way it's projected in speaking based on lower or uppercase letters.
Wow. Like, do I even do that with the way I regularly speak? Damn, that is impressive.
There's a lot that that people who do not want to accept would say, oh, it can't be that. You're just crazy. If you are not willing to be crazy, then there is no chance for survival.
That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah, man.
inventors and geniuses were looked upon as crazy. I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure. Come on. Like,
You're not a genius unless you're like mildly insane.
I mean, those are the people that go outside the box.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, you get art, you're ghost hunters too. There's like, okay. All right. There was this woman. I believe her name was Lisa Lam. She was in a hotel. Now, this hotel, I think, had a little bit of a record of being like a little bit haunted, right? This woman, there was a video of this woman. It seemed as if she was running away from something or someone, like in the hallway. She gets into an elevator and she's like looking back, like outside the elevator to see, like, I guess she's like freaking out. She's like her mannerisms are very panicky and whatever. I don't know how this happened, but the residents were like using the water, like the sink water or whatever, like, and it was like very murky and dark. What happened is that they found Lisa in one of like the water towers on top of the hotel. She was inside the thing for like, I think a week or something like that, and that's why the water was so dark, because it was her blood. But they said there was no explanation as to how in the world she ended up in there, how she even got up there, like, what happened to her. There's no explanation as to how that happened, but her behavior was very mysterious leading up to that whole thing, with the whole like running away or simply getting away from this presence or whatever was following her or whatever she thought was following her. I don't know, but I saw that and I was like, yo. This is why you don't mess with energy like that. You don't go to somewhere like that. Obviously, I don't think she knew, but you don't go to somewhere like that has a history of being haunted, because you're inviting that energy into your life then. And then I'm just saying, like, there's energy everywhere. Everything living and non-living has energy to it. And if you mess with the wrong energy, then you're kind of asking to be messed with in some shape, way, or form.
That's what happens when you mess with the Ouija board.
Oh gosh,
This is why people
Because that shit's real. Ouija board is real.
oh god.
that's the thing, man.
Because
a lot more real than y'all might think. A lot more real than I haven't played with, but trust me, I know.
I don't want to. Like, it's still one of the
I
things.
never will, man.
don't
Nah,
I never will.
not doing that. Nah.
don't
Even if someone that gave me $100 million, I still wouldn't do it.
don't mess with the supernatural.
You can't.
There's a natural world order that needs to be kept. Do not mess with them.
By the way, there's a theory that ghost sightings are not the deceased, but they're people from alternate realities appearing as flashes and glimpses in our, like, kind of bleeding over into our world for like a split second or something like that.
Oh wow.
Because the ghosts, okay, I shouldn't say ghosts. Spirits, they have the ability to be tangible in moments. You can smell them, you can see them, you can hear them, you can feel them. They can touch you. Like they can you can feel the touch of a spirit. Like a deceased it doesn't matter, but like you can feel the fact that alone, that you can feel that, even though you may not be deceased, there's a connection there. And it's like it's a larger than life thing. It's crazy.
Oh man, this is creepy. In the good way though. There's very
There's
interesting.
connections everywhere.
Yeah.
There's connections everywhere, and a lot that we don't really think about.
The scariest thing I've ever had to learn in philosophy is that there is no way. While I don't exactly believe in the simulation theory, there's no way.
I heard about that.
There's no way to discern between reality and simulation.
What do you mean?
There's no way that we can prove that we aren't in a simulation. There's no way we can prove what we're living right now is fully reality. And I think that is probably the scariest thing I've ever had to learn.
Do you think that we're in a simulation?
I personally don't think so, but when you think about
I think Elon Musk touched on that.
Think about the man from Torrid. To have some kind, you had to have some kind of technology where you can just disappear out of thin air like that. You had to have some kind of technology or magic. So if you're doing that, where back then it was 1970s, that means in an ultra reality somewhere was like 2,000 years ahead or like 1,000 years ahead to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, if we die, are we just souls looking for paradise, or are we waking up out of a giant fucking computer and then it's like, oh yeah, you made it through a simulation, and you're just waking up in some kind of dark ass room and you come out to like a futuristic city or something?
Oh no.
There's no way to know. That's the thing.
That's the thing. But
That's a scary, man.
It's so cool, but it's so scary.
Yeah,
it is.
It's not something.
That's why I hate when people say we are living in a situation. It's like, there's no way for you to know that.
There's no way to know.
Because the technology would be so perfect where you wouldn't be. Like, do you think a sim character understands that they're in a game? I mean, obviously, okay, well, it's hard to argue that they have any understanding at all, but you know what I mean. Their entire environment is surrounded. You know, it's not like they directly interact with us anyway. It's not like the player's hand ever comes down like, ooh. Then maybe you could argue like, okay, well, maybe the sim does understand that.
But there's also people that can see things that, like, there's people out there. I mean, I don't want to like just group everyone, but I would say most people cannot or do not really encounter supernatural events. But there are a few and a lot. There's a few and like a lot that do. And you know, like, there's people in my life who have seen spirits and of the like, and you know, like, it's
crazy. It's crazy.
Actually,
what's up?
There was a video, again, videos I just seen on Facebook. It was a boy that passed away, but they're at, these people, like, I guess the parents or relatives were at a church, and there was a balloon, a red balloon, but the red balloon moved in a way that it gravitated towards people. Like, it gravitated towards the mom, and it was actually like wrapped itself around the mom, hugging. Then it went away from the mom and onto another person, and also was like hugging it too. But the balloon moved in the direction that to the person or to the next relative.
That is weird.
It was scary because the balloon was moving. It wasn't moving like, no, it's a balloon. It would just go. It would just go straight up. But it was moving like, it moved from person to person. So it was kind of weird. I watched that video like 5 times in a row because it was creepy.
That reminds me. Sorry, you go first.
No, I was just thinking because like I think about that kind of thing, and I instantly think of what people would say to counter that, and like. Was there anything mentioned about what direction the wind was blowing at all? Anything
They were
like
inside.
That? They were indoor. Oh,
it was indoors.
Yeah, it was indoors.
There was no wind, no nothing.
I didn't see it, but yeah.
The balloon just gravitated towards one person to the next, because it was. They're at a church where the boy passed away, the little child, but there was a balloon there, and the balloon was moving in a matter like moving towards the mom. Like hugging it like this, was like right next to it. Then you put the arm down, the balloon moved over to the next person.
That's like how do you explain that?
You can't though.
The first step for humans to start accepting these type of things happen is to accept that within the supernatural, within our natural order, there is no true good and evil. Good and evil are only concepts that humans use to feel either better, basically used to feel better about themselves.
I'm
nothing
sorry,
else.
man. There's some demonic spirits out there.
But they're not all evil. Trust me. Can't explain to you just now how I know. Have to gain approval for that. But trust me, there is no real good and evil. Trust me. There is
there's like
no
a
truth.
philosophical.
There is no good and evil in the world. They are simply concepts. And until humans realize that, there's not going to be a full balance of where people are going to stop using Ouija boards to mess with the supernatural, or the supernatural, whether it be people from other realities or the deceased spirits that haven't been put to rest finding peace. We cannot reach that balance until humans realize we have to get our heads out of our asses and realize there is no real good and evil in this world. There is only what is.
And what isn't.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, but I do believe in the concept that there's good and evil. I don't think it's from like a predetermined point, but I think that like some demonic people, man. Like there are things. It's just I think it really goes on a person to person basis, though.
I used to think the same thing you did until, like I said, I will explain once I gain approval first. I can promise you on that.
Like all the murderers, man, the terrorists, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It goes back to like being raised in the world today. It's easy to see why people think there's good and evil, but people forget this didn't just start out of nowhere. It's been building up from years. When everyone's read Plato's Republic. Socrates pretty much called everything happening as it has. Plato's Republic is a required reading because it is still going on to this very day.
yeah.
And that was back in like 350 BC.
That's the crazy thing. Oh my goodness.
That's just human nature, though. That's the sad part. Right now, that's human nature. It just repeats itself because nobody learns. Like
Yeah, exactly. What human nature has become was pretty much built up back then. With the beginning of what capitalism would eventually become, capitalism at its core is pretty much what which makes human nature into what it is now.
I mean, we've become engrossed in a system where, like, literally money is pretty much, for a lack of a better term, our God. I've probably mentioned this before.
you have.
Yeah, I have.
I remember you mentioning it.
It's just infuriating to live in a system where there's one thing that is able to provide us with both our wants and desires. It's dangerous.
Yes,
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary. The thing is not to let yourself be consumed by it.
Yeah.
Because there's always consciousness, man. There's always consciousness involved. I don't care what anybody says. There's always consciousness involved
Yeah, but I
to some degree.
I need to correct myself real quick.
Yeah.
I said something that can provide us with wants and desire. I mean something that can provide all our needs and desires. That's the thing.
Right.
So something that has that much power is just like, there's something wrong with that kind of system. But hey, humans gotta. I mean, listen, like we got a long way to go before we start really like we're still having issues with sexuality and
Racism,
and
bro.
racism.
And we're always gonna have issues with that because people do not learn. It's just skin color. That's it.
I know how
Now there's history behind each skin color, but it's just skin color. Your skin color does not determine the type of person you are.
I know how racism started too. I said I know how racism started too.
Yeah.
Well, how? I feel like you just like let me on for a second.
I thought you were gonna like.
It was basically obviously a racist philosopher. After the colonized Africa, he wrote a book. Once again, I have to find the video so I can remember the name of the book.
Right.
And he wrote an entire book on this is how you divide people up by skin color, and this is how you're going to. This is the color you're going to put at the top. This is the color that you're going to oppress upon.
Yeah, I remember this too. You did. You touched on this briefly.
Yeah.
And I think this was the harassment episode we had. That you touched on it.
He wrote an entire book on racism and how to oppress those of a darker skin color and how to divide them up using coloration.
Oh my goodness.
Which is why we have colorism within races.
It's so stupid, man. It really is so stupid, and it's even scarier that how many people can be manipulated and deceived by this concept.
It is stupid, but when you look at it from that point of, when you look at it from the other point of view, it's genius to catch on people's ignorance like that. Yeah. It is genius.
It's dark genius.
It is evil genius.
That's the thing. Instead of using genius to better, it's using genius to make things worse.
Yeah, to destroy.
or just to be in control.
I agree.
There's dark control. There's control in a lot of different ways, and that is literally just using skin color to disadvantage people. That is horrible.
It is. And it makes me think, because while we're discussing alternate universes, it makes me think, is there another realm out there, another universe, where things are perfect, or as perfect as can be? Like, is there a version of this Earth?
I don't think anything's perfect, though.
Yeah,
true.
I think he means utopian.
Yeah.
Or
at least as close to it as possible, you know? Because, hell, I'd want to visit.
I think there's quite a few because people have varying ideas of what utopia might be. But I think at the very base of it, utopia is where everyone is completely happy. So I think there's varying definitions on how that utopia might go, but I think there's quite a lot where people are just completely happy. And who knows, there's an alternate reality where we look at racism in our world, it could be very well be the other way around somewhere else.
It could.
And that is scary too.
Mm-hmm. It just feels like, yes, we've progressed. We've progressed since, we've progressed, from how bad it used to be. We're not.
Well, we tend to take a few steps back.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, man.
When we thought we'd go somewhere and then something comes up on social media, the news, whatever, and then, that sets us back a few more times.
Right?
Because now all this stuff about...
yes, sir.
Obviously, I don't want to get in detail about this because it's not the point of the video, point of the podcast, but gender, sex changes, that's all
sexuality, skin, all that.
All that's prevalent
religious
now.
Beliefs. My goodness, I can't even.
It's crazy, but who knows? Alternate universe somewhere out there.
It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
exactly. And people think it's all new. This is the only thing I'll say about this. People think it's the kind of thing that's new, but there have been humans have been questioning gender identity for generations in ways that we don't even really know. Like, for example, the Dogon tribe of Mali in Africa. This is a tribe that existed in BC times. And they believed that men, for example, were born with a dual gender identity, and certain things like circumcision or other things would then assign them, the correct version of themselves, in their mind. But the point is that it's something that has been questioned before. This isn't something that is just like, all of a sudden people just feel this way. So it's like,
none of this is new, man.
That's the thing.
It's just because of social media, everything is widespread. More so. That's really the only thing.
Yeah.
That's why we're hearing about everything more. That's why we're seeing everything more. That's why there's more examples that are public. That's the only difference.
Yeah, the internet offers a sort of transparency that's never been here before, where we could really where we really can dive into everything.
Yeah, then net neutrality is trying to bust that too, man. Like,
yeah,
the free internet.
Yeah.
I mean, that is in the that's kind of actually in the process of being.
Yeah, the Supreme Court still has to decide if they're going to look at it or not. They can
Right.
choose not to, but I think they will.
I think
because
yeah,
it's
I
such
think-
a
I think
major
they
issue.
will. Yeah.
So
I don't.
anxious.
It's crazy. I'm just like, wow, 2018, man.
So many issues.
2018.
Man, I just want to go to a universe where food is currency. I can pay people in meals.
Food
and
is
people-
currency. I don't
Why
know if
not?
I don't know about food being currency.
Listen, dude, I get paid in food. After a hard day's work, I get like a 2.
But then you would have to pay other people in the food.
Oh yeah. Well, okay,
That'd
never
be one
mind.
obese country.
I got some beef jerky and a pork sandwich.
Yo, all I got is some nerds here. Yo, I got some Twizzlers.
Nah, we can't take that.
All right, so can you?
I got a
man.
gourmet sub here.
Okay, good.
Oh, thanks.
All right, so you give me that.
Yo,
and I'll-
how'd you get a gourmet sub, bro? How'd you get access to that? That's like the cream of the crop, man.
All right, so you give me that, and I'll fix your car.
Yeah, yeah.
Or what about the barter system, where goods and services are exchanged instead of money? You know.
I guess.
It's a barter system anymore.
I don't. I'm sorry, but like
Barter system anymore.
I mean, money is. I don't. It's crazy, man.
Oh, this reminds me of that line by let me see, this one line in Good Life, the song with Kanye West
Yeah.
and I believe T-Pain as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's one line where Kanye says, "Making money ain't everything, but having it is." You know what I mean? Like money,
Yeah.
like
He's
money's
not
not
lying.
everything.
Yeah, no, it's the
Exactly.
messed up
It's
No,
not-
Kanye will. Kanye. Kanye is very.
Kanye Quest.
Kanye Quest. Welcome to a Kanye call quest, man.
wow.
No, Kanye's smart, man.
He has had his moment. He has had his moments.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
It's probably an alternate universe where he's won the Nobel Prize. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for real.
But you know what? We'd really like to continue this conversation either in another episode or with you fans, actually.
Yes.
If you have any theories that you want to drop down, maybe have us talk about, if you want to be a guest, something like that, you could easily do so. Just find our videos, our audio and whatnot online at
Unknown and Uncloned on YouTube. And you can also reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram on UAU Podcast and on Facebook at Unknown and Uncloned. Boy.
That's right. So, I want to thank all you guys for coming out for another great episode of Unknown and Uncloned. I have been Rich, along with
Julian and
Lou Christie.
And Randall.
Nice.
That's right.
Nice. Any final remarks?
Yo, right now we're recording in this universe, all right? And if anyone's listening to us in other universes, thank you.
Hey, hashtag Universe 7, baby.
Yeah, right? Hashtag Universe 7, that's right.
Universe 7.
Yeah.
Hashtag,
You already know.
hashtag inside jokes.
Hashtag Dragon Ball. Hashtag wishing for peace.
Indeed. And with that said, peace out.
Deuces.